to tonight's episode of Late Night Baking. If you're currently watching this means you clicked the link to watch it, and I'm grateful you're here, especially considering what a disaster the last episode was. It was such a disaster that the producers have actually forbidden me from having a Shirley Temple for the next several weeks. They've even given me this nifty little ankle bracelet to monitor the grenadine content of my sweat. Last episode's failure was probably caused by hubris. You could say I was getting a little too big for my britches, which is why I'm wearing shorts now. So tonight's episode, we're going to scale it down a little, take it back, with a simpler recipe. This one was actually emailed to me by a Mr. Dad. And Dad sent me the recipe for a classic East Coast cookie, the Baltimore Berger. He actually emailed me this all the way back in December. I was going to make these for a coworker who comes from the Baltimore area, but COVID happened and I haven't seen any of my coworkers or friends for several months now. So to start, you get 2 cups of cake flour, throw them in a bowl, as well as 1 1/2 teaspoons of baking powder. And then 1/2 teaspoon of salt. More or less. And whisk that together. Set that aside. In another bowl, add 1 stick of butter, and 3/4 cups of sugar, and get that beaten. Then add in 1 egg white. Ew, gooey. Followed by 1 1/2 tablespoons of heavy cream. And finally, 1 1/2, a little more, of the vanilla that smells so good I want to chug it every day. And mix that up. Then grab your dries and add them in thirds, mixing it up each time. But for the sake of time, next time we do a close-up, we're just gonna skip to having added all this in, but I trust you. Now, I know what you're thinking. Hey Reed, this doesn't look like a lot of dough. Is this going to be enough for my cookies? Well, I've never made this. I don't know. Let's find out together. Save these for later. Then line your sheet with some wax paper and roll about a tablespoon worth of dough into a ball and line them up. This will be a while. Can we get like a jump cut or like a fast forward like last time? And there we go. Now, depending on how lazy you get by the end of your rolling and increase the size because you want to get through with it, you wind up with about 20 cookies. Or actually, in my case, it's going to be 19 cookies because I pay my cameraman in cookie dough. Here you go. Oh, 5-second rule. Next, take a glass and maybe grease it up. They can't hurt. Just a quick whoop. And we're going to flatten the cookies into discs. And repeat the process till, ooh, that is sticky. Just repeat the process. Nothing in life is perfect. All right, a glass actually isn't working out so great, so just use your hands. It doesn't matter. Squish, 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 just like all my hopes and dreams, crushed like cookie dough. Since you have 2 sheets, you want to bake these one at a time. Get that oven to... Did anyone else hear what sounded like a giant dog growling outside? whatever. Get the oven preheated to 350 degrees, put in the sheets one at a time for about 10 to 12 minutes, rotate the sheet halfway through. I'll meet you back here when everything's been baked. And that sound means our second batch is done. Transfer these to a rack to cool. And when I finish eating my coconut chicken curry that was just delivered, we're going to come back and frost these with a lot of chocolate. Welcome back. It's now time for everyone's favorite part, and by everyone's I mean at least me, the chocolate frosting. Get 3 cups of chocolate chips. Oh, okay, what gives? I just bought this bag on Monday. It was supposed to last all week and give me enough for 3 cups of chocolate chips. Was it you? Well, unbeknownst to my staff, I actually installed a security camera in the kitchen, so let's take a look to see who the chocolate thief really is. You know, it doesn't really matter. The good thing is I keep an emergency supply of chocolate chips in my dishwasher. So as I was saying, add 3 cups of chocolate chips to a bowl. One for me. Then you're going to get 1 1/4 cup of hot cream from the stove and pour it on. Pour it all over the chocolate. Now let that sit for a few minutes. You know, actually, the recipe itself says just microwave the whole thing until it melts, but we all know that's the route for quitters. Seriously, Dad, what are you trying to do, embarrass me? God, I thought Mom embarrassed me enough back in Thanksgiving 2009, but you? I didn't expect this from you. Sheesh. Once it's sat in the bowl together for a few minutes, mix it up. You can see the hot cream is starting to break down the chocolate into that smooth ganache. You know, not since earlier tonight when I smelled my vanilla have I ever been tempted to just drink a raw ingredient. Ugh. But next we're going to add 1 2/3 cups of cocoa powder. Really? That's a lot. Oh well. 1 2/3 cups of cocoa powder. As well as 1 1/4 cup of powdered sugar. And finally, 1 1/2 teaspoons of vanilla. That smells good. Not since melting the chocolate in the heavy cream have I been tempted to just drink a raw ingredient like this. And stir that together. The chocolate frosting for Baltimore Berger should be brownie batter-like in its consistency. And I would say, woo, batter up. Finally, take your cookie, dip it in. Don't worry, we're going to put more on later. And just repeat the process. Now that we have our base layer done, grab a spoon and just pile the fudge on. Really, that's what supposedly makes these burgers the burgers they are. If it looks ridiculous, it's supposed to. But who would really complain about too much chocolate? Not anyone in my household, that's for sure. Talk like that would get you locked outside for the night. Whew. Look at the size of that icing layer. It's enough to make any cupcake jealous. You're actually supposed to let these sit for about 2 to 3 hours so the icing can firm up a little, but it's 10 o'clock. I'm tired enough as it is. So I'm just gonna dive on in. Let's see. That is a lot of chocolate. A lot of chocolate. But I love chocolate. So let's see here. Crisp cookie. It's not quite as soft as I expected. I expected it to be almost cake-like, similar to a black and white cookie. Look for that on a future episode, perhaps. But the chocolate itself is nice and, well, obviously it's moist. Look at it, it's practically a liquid. It balances things out nicely. It's a very tasty chocoholic cookie. I'm gonna need a big cold glass of milk to go with this. But I hope you all have a good night.